I'm not. I said the same thing about one other thing. So here's the light unit. If you'll go back to the green, Jamie, please. This is the light unit.
Now we're going to get into some stuff that's not going to be so much fun, but it is going to be. You are going to get what you want.
No, you're going to love this. You're going to love this because what I'm going to show you, as I said.
Whoa.
And what you said concerning. Here.
Now look at that.
That's pretty dope.
Put that down, and it'll show you. This is where I've put 20 of them together. The same way I put 20 of these together, and it makes a natural dodecahedron. But what it's showing you is where electricity is being pushed into the center, and you'll see these magnetic waves coming out. It's showing you the magnetic field. So these predict and create a natural dodecahedron, whereas these come together and create a natural icosahedron. That's not something that just happens by accident.
No, this isn't an accident.
I'll put it over.
What's going on, Terrence, for me?
Can you connect all these together in one big ball of fury?
Yes, they just keep getting, because it's supersymmetry.
Yeah.
They all fit together.
I want to see
That's
these
what
and
I'm
these
saying.
together.
It ain't supersymmetry, but it's freaking cool.
Right. I know what you're saying.
But
the problem is that term, right?
Well,
it keeps using
again,
that term.
my point is that you can run into all kinds of terms of art in a field that you don't know well.
Right.
And Terrence is like, I come on your show and I do this thing, which I've never really discussed why I do it. I have this feeling that somehow Sean Carroll 15 years ago started talking about a suite of ideas like entanglement, the multiverse, these Boltzmann brains, whatever. And people have been talking about them ever since because it was a very successful tour. Much of the coolest stuff in mathematics and physics that's completely established, that's non-speculative, is not discussed. And I don't know why. And one of the things that I tried to do is I tried to show you the Hopf vibration. I tried to do the thing about the Dirac string trick. Terrence is bringing cool stuff from the world of geometry. It's a proof, effectively, that people don't know where it's coming from. A lot of this is real as geometry. If you look at the thing that he calls the Terrenton, right?
The tetrian. The
the
tetrian is the
tetrian.
The tetrian is just
so the tetrian that is the thing that is closest to us, the black thing that is closest to us.
That one.
So he then starts to make noises about it, and he says things that I don't love, which are that those faces he associates with the electric field, and the vertices, which sometimes he calls vortices, and sometimes I'm not quite sure, he associates with the magnetic field.
Yes.
Now, I don't have a clue why he says the next thing, which is, and because the number of magnetic and the number of electric things are balanced, they cancel out, and therefore it's the weak force. And to me, it's just like super cool stuff, and then suddenly turns into horseshit.
But listen why. Here we have those two tetrians on the end. They both have equal poles, 4 electric poles and 4 magnetic poles, according to how I see it. Where magnetism is spinning off of the tips, the vortices, because it's no longer able to maintain that center space of spinning centripetally.
I don't know what the hell you're talking about.
Yeah, what brought you to that conclusion?
With what?
The way you're describing the energy involved in this.
Well, anytime you look at electricity, that was one of the things that Victor Schauberger was talking about. Electricity it's when water starts to spin to the right, it cools down. That's the natural nature of electricity. Electricity is colder. It flows better in the coldest environment. So as it's cooling down, as it's spinning down to a higher point, trying to get to that higher point, that's the highest point there. It's looking for the highest density. That's the north. North is always the highest density. South, no matter where you are, south is always away from the higher point when you're talking about universally, not talking about geographically on the earth. North is always seeking a higher position. South is always seeking a lower position. That's based upon stuff that Walter Russell talked about. based upon the stuff that Victor Schauberger talked about. But it's a problem with the definition of the words, the terms.
Right, but your description of electromagnetic force and magnetism, like what is happening that it's bringing you to this conclusion that you're so specifically saying that something that you literally can't even see with the human eye is happening very clearly.
I'm saying 4 magnetic fields are pushing in on that area.
I don't see magnetic fields. I see those spheres.
Would be magnetism. What does magnetism do? It expands out.
What brings you to the conclusion
radiation.
that electric...
Well, let's say radiative field. Let me use the term radiative
Do you know what we think electricity and magnetism are?
You think it's the same thing.
No.
Part of the same force. They have them coupled together.
Jamie, could I ask you to find a Faraday tensor?
Yeah, what I was trying to get to the conclusion, like magnetism and electricity, like what brings you to this definitive conclusion that you can so clearly state that this is what's happening there?
Well, based upon any time there's an electric force acting on something, it causes a cavity. Electricity is always pulling in from the inside. It's always trying to tighten the density.
And you assume this energy exists in the flower of life. Why?
Because that's where all those circles, the overlapping circles, they represent the magnetic field. They represent the radiative field that's coming out and coming back. Well, why does a bubble take the shape of a ball? Why not a square or a triangle? What's the why does it expand into a sphere?
A sphere is an abstraction that it's going to be the solution to many different problems. If I ask you to give me the maximum possible volume with the minimum possible area, I'm going to get a sphere. If I ask you what is the best thing to launch out of an old style cannon and to stack next to it, you're going to say a sphere. Then you have a question about, is that the same concept of a sphere? You know, if I take the 3-dimensional sphere of unit quaternions, is that the same concept of a sphere? You are in part freely associating repeatedly between things that remind you of other things. Now you have an incredible storehouse of things between your ears that you know to associate with. And your brain is like, I mean, in part, it's like, if you think about the totality of your brain, it's like a Ferrari engine and a Volkswagen. The Volkswagen chassis is not capable of supporting something else that you're doing really well. And